We are now going towards question and answer session. So that will be led by Shri Kirit Bhai Modi. He is a kidney transplant recipient. He is a president of the National Kidney Federation, honorary president of NBTA, which is National BAME Transplant Alliance, and chair of the Jain and Hindu Steering Group on Organ Donation. He also chairs the Leicester Area Kidney Patients Association. Kirit has frequently spoken at the All-Party Parliamentary Kidney Group and written to manifestos for change on BAME issues and on living kidney donation. He is a member of the project board for 2 NHSBT programs, the Community Investment Scheme and the Living Transplant Initiative. Kirit received a Points of Light Award from the Prime Minister for his work on organ donation in 2018. So let's go towards the Q&A where you can share your questions and hope to get the answers. Over to Shri Kirit Bhai.
Thank you very much, Aman Bhai. We're fortunate to have an expert panel of people who will be answering the questions. We've got Apeksha Ben, we've got Sanjay Bhai, we've got Manoj Bhai, of course got Emma. Now, we've already received a number of questions from young people. We have a Gujarati school running at Jalaram Mandir, and Sajan Ben has kindly worked with the A-level students, and they have, I want to thank all the students who have put forward those questions. And I'm just going to name them, there are half a dozen of them. It's Parth Acharya, Krushil Patel, Dev Karvandra, Dhruv Hirani, and Shivani Acharya. So my first question, I think, is for Apeksha Ben. Apeksha Ben, the question is, how does the NHS match a kidney donor to a recipient? Is Apeksha Ben there? If you could unmute them.
Hello.
Yeah?
Yes, I'm here.
Hear the question, Apeksha Ben?
Yes, I did. I did. How does the NHS match a kidney donor to the recipient? So essentially,
That's right.
the way it works is when you are a kidney donor and you pass away, you undergo a blood test, and the blood test is matched with the recipient's blood test. And what they do is test for genetic matching. And rather than go into all the details about this, there are the main genetic matches that they look at: blood group and antibodies. And depending on these factors, they then look at the people on the organ transplant list. And they will try and find the most suitable people with the least mismatches. And also recently, there have been laws that have been passed that will ensure that people who are on the waiting list for longer are prioritized a little more. So people who have been waiting for kidneys for a lot longer are further up the list. But essentially, it's matched to the best blood group and antibody screen. And then when the suitable donation recipient is found, the NHS organ donation system gets in touch with their doctor, and you are then called as the recipient to come in.
Thank you. And this also means, Apekshaben, that your chances of getting a kidney from somebody from the same ethnic group are higher. Is that right?
Yes, because of the way our genetics work, when you're matched with your blood group and the antibodies, people of your same ethnicity are more likely to match you. Now, it's not impossible to have a match from someone from a different ethnicity, but the likelihood is higher if it's someone from your own ethnicity.
Thank you. And this means that's why we need more people to sign on the organ donor register, yes?
That's
Let
right.
me turn to Emma. Emma, there's a question about how old can you be to donate organs and to receive organs?
So there is a kind of cut in terms of how old it's more to do with organs. So what we always say to everyone is, regardless of how old you are, make sure you sign up, because quite often there'll be something that will be of use. So we tell everyone, just sign up, and then what doctors will do at the time of your death, if you're eligible for donation, they will assess you and decide whether your organs are suitable for transplant. So don't feel you're discounted if you're older in age, if you're more mature. What I would recommend is, if you're pro-organ donation, like to donate, sign up, have the conversation with your family, and the doctors will be able to advise on whether your organs are suitable at the time.
And this means, Emma, that we young babies have donated and people in their 80s have donated as well. That's right, isn't it?
Very true, very true. Yeah, it's a whole spectrum, and quite often as well, people with health conditions also. So if you're older and you have a health condition like diabetes, or if you've had cancer in the past, there may be opportunities for you to donate as well. So what we say is, don't feel like you've been discounted by a health condition or your age. Just go for it, and it will be assessed at the time. So don't worry, nothing will slip through the net, if you know what I mean. Go ahead and sign up, and yeah, that would be my advice.
Thank you. A question for you, Manoj Bhai. We know that before donation can take place, the specialist nurse has a discussion with family members. Can you tell us a bit more about what conversation you had with the specialist nurse before Leela Ben donated her organs?
Well, I must say, the sensitivity with which the whole team, the specialist nurses, the whole department was incredible. They were very, very, very compassionate, very delicate. They were able to assist us in every single way that we wanted assistance with. They were able to answer every question. They never rushed us. They informed us of things that we didn't even think of. A dedicated nurse, a nurse was dedicated and committed to us. In fact, because it took a couple of days, there were two nurses that worked shifts back to back, 18 to 22 hours long. And we had a direct line to this individual if we had to leave the hospital at all. And we were kept informed of every part of the process. So what I would say to you is, I have never been treated with such courtesy, with such dignity, that Leela, my family, we were all treated with such dignity, and we were so grateful to the team. I cannot begin to thank them enough at this very, very anxious time.
Thank you for sharing that. And I think it's very important for everybody to appreciate that organ donation does not take place without having a detailed conversation, like Manoj Bhai has said, with the family members beforehand. And that's so important to have that conversation. This question for you, Sanjay Bhai. Sanjay Bhai, it's a pleasure to meet you again online. We last met in Rajkot several years ago. And I know the arrangement in India is obviously different from the UK. But just to tell us briefly, Sanjay Bhai, what do you think are the biggest challenges for kidney patients in India?
Basically, kidney transplantation is best available option for renal replacement therapy with patient of chronic kidney failure who reaches to end-stage kidney disease. The number of patients are so huge, and against that, family donor and donor available through cadaver transplantation are so little that hardly availability may be reaching to 1 or 2% of the requirement. That's number one thing. Number two thing, that pool of cadaver organ which should come may not be available, because when somebody wishes to donate kidney, when he or she has brain death, and to support such patient, there should be a very good infrastructure where ventilator and all other facilities should be available, on which patient is maintained and subsequently declared brain dead. And when brain death is declared, such patients are given option that yes, now there is no hope of any recovery and your organs can be useful to save life of others. But as such facilities are available at only couple of places, not very few, but still not substantially more places, and therefore if accident occurs in remote place where they are given primary treatment and they go for the brain death or worsening of the condition, their organs cannot be procured. So this is the major challenge why number of cadaver organ transplantation is comparatively less in country of India. Moreover, in country like in state like Gujarat, the dialysis is completely free under my Yojana. Even government provides 300 rupees for transportation charge to all needy, and therefore, although transplantation is not available, patients are able to get hemodialysis therapy regularly and without charge.
Thank you, Sanjay Bhai, and thank you for the amazing work. I've seen your work in Rajkot. Thank you for the amazing work you're doing, not just in Rajkot, but all over India. Thank you. There's a question, Apeksha Ben, about, because you talked about the importance of living kidney donation, yes, as well as donation after death, yes? As we know, you can donate, some people can donate whilst they're living kidneys can be donated, and you can donate kidneys after death. Could you briefly explain the advantages of living kidney donation compared to a kidney donation after death? Did you get the question?
Yes, I've got the question. So there are lots of advantages to living kidney donation as opposed to waiting for an organ from the national donation list. The first is that you're waiting for less time, and potentially you'll be waiting for many years on the national donation list. Whereas if you go for live kidney donation and you get your family involved and you have those conversations early, you could potentially get a kidney donated from your loved ones before you ever reach the stage of needing dialysis. And these are conversations that need to be had quite early on in your kidney journey. So as soon as you realize that you have kidney disease and your kidney disease starts to progress, these are conversations that you should be having with your family members and with your doctors. The other good thing that we've noticed is actually that live kidney donation has less risk of the kidneys not working, actually. Because obviously there is time involved in transferring a kidney from a dead person across to wherever the recipient is, that time that is taken can affect how good the kidney is. It can affect how quickly the kidney function recovers as soon as you put it in the recipient. And these are all things that can be reduced when you go for live kidney donation, because live kidney donation happens simultaneously. You have a person donating the kidney, and within the limited amount of time you can then give the kidney to the next person, and that time of transfer is reduced. And so the risk of the kidney not working and the risk of the kidney function not picking up quickly is completely reduced.
So I think what you're saying in summary, Abachaben, is that if it's possible to have a living kidney donation from a family member or a friend, that is the best solution, yes? And
Yes.
that can even take place before dialysis is started. But if that can't happen, then clearly transplantation after death is better than being on dialysis. Is that a fair summary?
That is a fair summary, yes. So donation from a living donor is the most ideal solution, both for the person who suffers from kidney disease and their family members, because it means that they can get the kidney before they spend any time on dialysis. The next option will be a kidney from a deceased donor, and then obviously if they cannot receive a kidney from the deceased donor, they will be spending time on the various different types of dialysis that we have to offer.
Thank you very much for making that so clear. Emma, there's another question for you, because as we know, the law in England has changed to opt out. And this means that unless one opts out of the system, then it will be assumed that you have agreed to donate, yes? And that's coming for since last May. And some people are asking that since the opt-out law is, why should I register? If I don't do anything, then the system will kick in, won't it? What would you say to that?
I would say it's just about layers of reassurance for your family, primarily. So what I would say is that by registering your donation decision, when the specialist organ donation nurse starts that conversation with your family, they can start the conversation by saying, we have record of this decision. This is what your loved one decided that they would want to happen to their organs in the event of their death. And it's a good starting point, because it kind of lets the family know what their official position was on this issue. But what we do say as well is that, as well as actually kind of registering that decision, so your decision is recorded, that's why the conversation with the family is so important, because a doctor will never push through your decision if your family don't agree or aren't comfortable with it. So what we ask is that you register your decision, that's step one, and then you have the conversation with your family, so that in the event of your death, they know what's coming, they know what your decision was, and they can support it. What we don't want is families to be in that position and not have known your decision and think, oh, I don't think they would have decided that. I had no idea what was going on. So it's really important that families kind of don't feel blindsided. So yeah, the emphasis is still very much on having that conversation with family. So the first step would be to record so that it's clear what you would want, and that starts the conversation. And then have that conversation with your family, so that when those two parties come together, the specialist nurse and your family, both parties are clear about what you want, and then they can move forward from that.
That's really helpful. In fact, the way I put it is that don't leave this important decision to the law. Make a positive decision yourself and talk about that decision with your family. Yeah, it's like we're giving a gift of life here. Yes, it's the most important gift one can give. Yes, Why rely on the law for that? Why don't we make it ourselves? Yes, and that's the crux here. And my last question is for Manoj Bhai. Manoj Bhai, I know that since Leila Ben passed away, you've been doing amazing work in promoting organ donation. I've heard you speak a number of times, and I was so touched by your amazing speech today. And the letter you read out from the recipient was incredible. So, could you tell us now, how do you feel about Leela Ben having donated? How do you feel about that now? You know, some time has passed since she donated. How do you feel about that?
My family and I, my children and I, we gain a great deal of solace. We take a lot of solace and comfort in the knowledge that, one, Leela's life was not in vain. Two, that her express wishes we were privileged and honored to be able to fulfill. And three, that her legacy lives on in more ways than one. Her legacy not only lives on in the work we're doing here and support and using her as a great example of Dan, of Seva, but also through the lives of not just the recipients, but all the people that have benefited by that recipient receiving one of her organs. Their lives will have been transformed. And that letter in itself epitomizes the beautiful privilege and honor of being a donor. Our journey has been made even more comfortable. It's a very, very difficult situation when such a young mother passes away at a very young age, suddenly. And I know that my children and I, we get a great deal of comfort in knowing that she lives on through others. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Manoj Bhai, for sharing that. I know it's not an easy thing to talk about, but I do appreciate you talking about it. Really, really wonderful that you're able to talk to us so openly about this. I'm going to bring this to a close because I'm afraid time is not on our side. I've also been invited to say a word of thanks on behalf of Jalaram Mandir. It's a pleasure to do this. We've had an excellent event, and I want to first start by thanking Jalaram Mandir, Pramod Bhai and Bharat, and the whole team for organizing this amazing event. Special thanks to Hemant Bhai for coordinating this so well, and for Hemant Bhai, who's been in the background. He's been doing all the IT support. And we've had wonderful entertainment from Sairam Dave and obviously our own Vijay Bhai Shet. I want to thank all the speakers, the Manoj Bhai, Emma Dixon, Apeksha Ben, and of course, Sanjay Bhai. Thank you all for attending this event. And as was pointed out earlier, do take some action. So in conclusion, I would say this really, is firstly, if you have somebody in your family who is waiting for a kidney transplant, then think about being a living donor within your family. I think that's got to be your first thing, which what Apeksha Ben highlighted. I think that's number one. But if not, then all of you, if you're adults, you're over 18, then you need to start thinking about signing the organ donor register. Talk to your family about organ donation. Talk about this event. You had so much information this evening. And make sure that your family members know what your wishes are when you pass away. So as Emma put it, keep them certain about your decision. And we from the Hindu community are particularly positive about organ donation. So I would urge you all to sign up to the organ donor register and help save lives. Jai Jalaram to everyone, and thank you.